Now we got UFC 267. We got some pretty good fights on that, bro. I'm not gonna lie. Like we got Jan versus Glover Teixeira, Peter Yan, Corey Sandhagen, it was supposed to be Aljamain Sterling, but there's something wrong with Aljamain Sterling, so Corey Sandhagen steps up, and then we got Makachev, who's on a tear right now. Islam, like he's like Khabib's little prodigy boy, so he's on a tear versus Dan Hooker. You got Volkov versus Tybura, a big fight in the heavyweight division. You got the Leech Jingliang versus the return of Chimaev, who retired then unretired, then said he can't fight anymore because of COVID, but now he's like gonna be the champion, so whatever with that. And then you have Makhmedov versus Ozdemir. Dude, there's some pretty good fights. This one, the name that no one has really any like big names on this, but those guys come to fight. So this one I could see a lot of knockouts and submissions.
Well, you should be really happy because they have heavyweights, two light heavyweights on this card.
Yep. It's a good card.
You should be very happy. So
I'm happy about this card. Like, again, when we do the rating and whatnot, if I have to do a quick rating, of B. This is a solid B, like B minus.
Yes.
Maybe, but
so let's highlight each one of these fights real quick. Starting with let's go from the bottom to the top. Let's go.
The top. Let's go.
Let's go. Makhmud Ankalaev versus Volkan Ozdemir.
Kasoon tight, but yeah.
Okay. Thank you, sir.
Yeah. So
okay.
I mean, obviously, this is Rock'em Sock'em Robots. Like Ozdemir hasn't. That's all he does. And he has some success. Let's not lie. Yes, he got into a crazy fight with Yuri, his last fight, and he got knocked the F out. But that's what he does. Ozdemir is what was his first fight in the UFC? He knocked out who? Some big name. Like they threw
Ozdemir?
Yeah.
Was it Rashad Evans?
No, it was it was Rashad Evans-esque. Like.
Oh, hold on. Let me pull it up real quick. I got it right here.
Ozdemir, he just goes into slobber knockers, dude. He's like we talk slobber knockers. Like Ozdemir just goes into these battles, and I mean, he's gonna be going against someone who's going to go. I mean, Magomedov is no slouch. Like 15-1. I mean, all these. If your name
okay.
Who was it?
Okay, he knocked out Anthony Smith.
That's who you see, Anthony Smith, and who went for the title, mind you. So
it said no, correct. It said he subbed him. He rocked him, and then he subbed him.
Yeah, but it was basically I just remember he rocked him.
And then after that, he beat Dominic. Dominic Reyes beat him. Yeah, but anyways,
So he's in Rock'em Sock'ems, dude. And I'm excited for this fight.
Definitely not a decision fighter.
Yeah.
And Makhmud Ankalaev, I don't think I'm screwing up. He's 15-1. He's another gritty fighter. So this is not going to be a chess match or a decision.
And I love it. I love it. You start the card off with that. Like that's what I'm talking about.
Start off. Next up, let's go on Khamzat Chimaev versus Lean Jingliang. What you think about that?
I love this fight. I think so. You have the Leech over there, China's pride. These Chinese fighters are coming, dude. They're coming, dude. They're over there training in China, just waiting to just give all these fighters over to the UFC. And then you have what was it, Chimaev? I call him the Amish guy because he looks like an Amish guy.
He does.
He really does. But he's a beast, dude. He came in like a hurricane in the UFC, just like murking guys and then fighting like 1 day notice, 2 day notice, just like I'll fight 17 guys tonight. Like this is like, and he straight up, he has a knockout, he has a submission, he has like he's undefeated in the UFC. So he was calling out all these guys in the welterweight. He was calling out everyone, and then the COVID happened, and no, I can't fight anymore. But it was weird.
I hate this matchup.
Oh!
Hate this matchup.
Oh, tell me how you really feel.
I fucking hate it with a passion. Listen. Okay. Khamzat was his big sexy thing. He was a sexy thing for like probably 2 months. Everything about it was so nice. And like he could have been catapulted, and this is the best opponent you can give him. There was people that wanted to fight him. There was a lot of guys who wanted to fight him.
Leon Edwards was in the running.
Leon Edwards was supposed to fight this guy. Like there was so many guys supposed to fight him, wanted to fight him, but all of a sudden he went from being Listen, he wants to be in the next big thing, the guy that willing to fight whatever, do whatever, step up to whoever, to the UFC protected him.
Okay, well let's take a step back. Okay. If you were his coach or his trainers or whatnot, you would want someone like this. You would want someone who's not as big as a name, not as probably tough as the other guys, but still a test. I mean, he's still a UFC fighter. He still has some victories in the UFC. So you'd want him to come back on a fight like this rather than a Leon Edwards or a whoever else that could demolish him possibly. So
I agree with that. I totally agree with that. Just remember this too. Like, I totally understand the logic of that. But listen, the coaches get paid too, and the higher the person is, the higher chance it is. But I want to see Khamzat fight, but I wanted him to fight someone who's more established, more spirit. Because this dude was talking about he wanted to fight anybody.
He was over there
light, heavy, middle.
At the same time. Like he'll fight he'll fight multiple times in one night. Like he wants to go old school UFC. Like.
And that's at welterweight, his more natural weight class.
And he was another one that Dana loved. Dana was like, I'll fight anyone. You pay me in pennies. I'll fight anyone. Dana was like, yeah.
Yes. Dana loved puppets. Yes, man. He loved puppets that gonna go by his orders. Yeah, he loves them. So I'm looking at that card. But hey, let's just do this real quick on the last one. Who do you have winning the Volkan Ozdemir fight?
I have Ozdemir winning. I think Ozdemir's going to come back. He has the fighting spirit in him. I think he's going to knock him out, to be honest, first or second round.
I think Magomed is going to submit him second round. That's what I feel. So we'll record that. Next up, the Khamzat fight versus Jingliang. Who you got?
I got Khamzat, and I think he's going to win by either decision or TKO in the later round, like a third round TKO.
I got Khamzat too. I got him too. Also next, your boys, the Alexander Volkov versus Marcin Tybura, your heavyweight.
This is a good fight, dude. Okay, I think now Volkov is starting to be that gatekeeper. If you could beat Volkov, then you're on the upper echelon. Is Tybura there? Is the question? I don't think so. I think Volkov beats him. I think Volkov's standing is so much more crisp and better than Tybura. Yes. Tybura's a beast on the ground. Don't even get me wrong. If it goes to the ground, Tybura could win this. Not easily, but it could be a fight. But I think it keeps standing on the ground, and Volkov picks his shots and either gets the unanimous decision or TKOs him.
Yes. I'm going to go Volkan too with his crisp striking and his proof. Volkan has been around. He's done a lot.
He's a journeyman. He's a veteran. He's legit. He's in the upper tier. Will he ever be a champion? Probably not. Like I don't think so. But he's always going to be up there. You
know what is always cemented in my head about Volkov?
The fight with the football player Hardy.
No.
Hardy almost beat him. So
no, the miracle knockout with the Black Beast on the Conor McGregor versus Khabib card.
That was crazy. That was absurd. Volkov was winning that whole fight, and he comes back and knocks him out, like at the end of the fight. Like, it's 5 seconds left.
I can see it in my head now. So I see Volkov winning that fight decision. So next up, Islam Makhachev versus Dan Hooker.
This one's a hard one. This one's a legit hard one. Both these guys are at the top of their game. Both of them could go. They're both contenders. Both of them. Dan Hooker, he's feeling himself right now. I think he really. I mean, yes, he just lost to Michael Chandler and lost to Dustin Poirier. But I mean, he was right there in the Dustin Poirier fight. That was just a knock him, sock him, go back, and that's what I'm talking about. Those are amazing fights.
Yes. And let's be honest, he didn't even show up against Michael Chandler.
No, Michael Chandler was so fast. He just swarmed him. So who knows?
He didn't even show up. So let's give a little backstory of this fight. It originally was supposed to be Islam Makhachev versus Rafael dos Anjos.
Correct. Yep.
Rafael dos Anjos got an injury. Dan Hooker fought last weekend. Was it last week?
Yeah, I think 2 weekends ago.
2 weeks ago. Yeah. And they needed someone to replace Rafael dos Anjos. And Dan Hooker answered that call. So
I gotta be honest, dude. That shows how awesome Dan Hooker is. Because, dude, this ain't an easy fight by any means. Or dude, Islam is they're supposed to be the next big thing. So
yes, I think we're gonna see what Islam made out of. Because this is is a step up in competition. But
the thing is, this is the perfect step up in competition. This is exactly because Maka, like, he's been just progressively getting better and better opponents. This is this is it. This is where you like, if you beat Dan Hooker, you can go for the championship. There's no doubt about it. Like, especially in a dominant fashion.
I agree. So, and also Dan Hooker showed a little bit of ground game in his last fight.
Yeah, he did. Yeah, he did.
Offensively, I was impressed with that. So, who do I see winning this fight? Okay. I'm a sucker for $100. I'm gonna go Dan Hooker.
So I can't. It's hard, man. Like, this one's. I could flip a coin on this. Like, literally. Like, I don't know. I want to say, my brain is saying Islam. Like, my brain is like, he's just a better fighter all around. But it's like you said, my heart is saying Hooker. I want Hooker to win. Like, having Hooker in the lightweight, just throwing him back in there, he could go against anyone top 5, and it'll be an exciting fight. Anyone. So
yeah.
I'm gonna say Islam. I'm gonna say Islam by, it's a 3-round fight, right? Mm-hmm. By decision. But it's gonna be a great fight.
I think so. So there you go. So next up, Peter Yan versus Corey Sandhagen. There's quite a few things we can talk about this card.
Yeah, this is really interesting. This one.
This fight. Let's tell me, how do you feel about this card? It originally was supposed to be Peter Yan versus Aljamain Sterling, aka Aljo. But Aljo had an issue with his nerves, and he said he was losing feeling in his hand. So therefore, he put
issue with his nerves. Like, how? Like, that's such projection. Like, he was really nervous about this fight. So
yeah,
I don't know.
Okay, he was having issues with his actual nerves.
His actual nerves, not his nerves. His nerves. Okay, I'm not gonna. He's a Jamaican brethren, so I don't like saying bad things about Aljamain Sterling. Okay. I just don't. I wish him the best. I wish him a speedy recovery in whatever he's doing. Good. But this is an interim championship, okay? He needs to relinquish his championship. Like, I'm sorry.
What?
He needs to relinquish his championship.
Please,
this is not an interim championship. This is the real champion. And if he wants to come back and fight the winner for the real championship, do it. Like, then you can do it. But don't call yourself the champion. Like, how he lost to Peter Yan was, it sucked. Like, I'm not gonna lie. It was an illegal knee. It was an illegal knee. It was a straight up illegal knee, and that's what got him the championship. Blah blah blah. But now that you have a rematch, because Peter Yan he admitted it. He said Peter Yan was kicking my ass. He was destroying me. Like, he would have won that fight. Aljamain said it. I was tired. I was done. Like, if he would have if that knee wouldn't have happened, he would have won that fight. Peter Yan would have won the fight, and Aljamain said it. Aljamain, okay, the better man didn't win that night. Like, you won because of a no contest. You need to say that. Like, you need to be like, hey, that night I wasn't better. I sucked, and I probably was going to lose a championship, but I'll fight him again when I'm healthy, and then the real champion can be named. He's not the real champion. He's a paper champion. Like,
oh, that's why he needs to relinquish it?
That's why he needs to relinquish it. I have a championship. Wouldn't that make you feel bad if you had, like, this championship? You're the best in the world, but you got it under weird circumstances where you're not the best? Like,
okay, I have a question. Do you think Peter Yan deserves the championship over Aljamain Sterling?
Yes.
Okay.
I think Peter Yan is better than Aljamain Sterling at this moment right now, and I think the better fighter should be the champion.
I think he's a better striker. Okay. Two things with that is. Okay.
I don't like talking bad about Aljamain Sterling. I don't.
Okay.
I don't. I like the guy personally. I think he's a great guy. It's all just like.
Okay. You're right. Two things with that fight is Aljamain steamrolled Sandhagen.
True.
No, he beat him, no question. He bulldogged and beat him, no question.
He did. Yeah.
Sandhagen don't deserve this fight over Aljo. But Aljo's hurt. Sandhagen's last fight was a loss, right?
Okay. Who deserves it more than Sandhagen?
One Sandhagen's last fight was a loss?
No, well, yes, but he
Yes.
knocked out Frankie Edgar with that crazy flying knee.
Well, you asked who more? TJ
I think they
Dillashaw?
were trying to give it to Frankie Edgar, to be honest. But for Sandhagen just destroyed
Yeah.
Frankie Edgar, so they couldn't have given it to Frankie Edgar. So honestly,
And,
well, they should have gave it to TJ Dillashaw, but I think TJ Dillashaw's injured. So
yeah, he is. He just had surgery. But Peter Yan does not deserve the championship. He definitely don't.
After this fight, he will. That's all I'm saying.
Peter. Like right now, here's the thing that gets me. Right now, Aljamain became the bad guy, and Peter Yan is a good guy, which is fucking weird when I think about it.
It should be the opposite. Aljamain should be the good guy, and Peter Yan should be the bad guy. But it's just the way Aljamain's like talking about this situation. Like he's making it seem like, and I know, like he does admit, so he's living in reality. He's not making alternate facts or anything crazy like that. But it's hard to say like, hey, he's never gonna be like, I don't deserve to be the champion. Who's gonna say that?
No one.
No human being would say that. Like,
but he did admit that Peter was kicking his ass.
Exactly, and that was big, and that's why I respect him. He respects that. But you saying now Peter Yan was kicking your ass, you would have lost that fight. So and you won it on a technicality. Like
to me, which means Aljamain's gonna win this fight next.
We'll see.
When he fight Peter Yan, he's gonna win a rematch.
So if that's the case where Peter Yan beats Corey Sandhagen and then they fight Peter Yan versus Aljamain and Aljamain wins, I would love it. I'd love it. That would be great.
And listen, people don't realize this. That was the best thing to ever happen to Peter Yan was him kneeing Aljamain Sterling. Because now people talk about Peter Yan. People know about Peter Yan.
Barely, but yeah.
Yeah, people know he talk about Peter Yan. Before that, people didn't really know too much about him. But him and it's Aljamain rolling the hill. He playing the hill. So the winner of this fight, right?
Mm-hmm.
Winner of this fight, I think Peter Yan is overrated. Here's why. He's a phenomenal striker, but his ground game is suspect. Sandhagen is an okay striker. He's great at staying in distance, but he's a great grappler. I think Peter Yan has more crisp boxing, have better boxing than Sandhagen. But as Sandhagen gets it to the ground, it'd be interesting.
Sandhagen is so big for that weight class. Like he's so big, like really, 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 really big. So obviously, if he can keep the distance and pop Peter Yan like where Peter can't touch him, and if it does go to the ground, I'd love it. Sandhagen is such a very interesting character. He really is. His fighting style is just like no other, and he utilizes that height and reach like beautifully. But Peter Yan, I don't know, dude. Peter Yan is like he doesn't talk, so it's like he has that like weakness where he doesn't talk. Maybe he can't speak English very well, so that could be it too. But I definitely have. I don't even know who I have in this fight. Like I literally don't know. I will never. I literally have no idea who's gonna win this fight. So
you said something a while ago. You said that Aljamain is rooting for Corey Sandhagen to win.
Yep.
Big time. Tell me why, brother. Tell the fans why.
So it's obvious. He steamrolled. Think about it. No, seriously, he steamrolled freaking Corey Sandhagen. So he's like, why wouldn't I want to fight someone I just steamrolled? He lost. I'm going to say he lost. He did lose because take that knee out. He lost that fight to Peter Yan or was going to lose that fight. So in your head, you always have that. You're like, well, he did beat me that one time. And you're always going to have that. And then he's going to be like, I destroyed Corey Sandhagen. I can do it again. So he's begging. He wants those MMA gods to have Corey Sandhagen win. Like, how beautiful would that be? Then there would be no excuse. Then he could be like, Peter Yan, get to the back of the line. You had your chance. Like, fight. You need to fight 2 or 3 more people, and then you can fight me. So, and that's like what, a year, like 2-3 fights. Yes. So I mean, it's obvious. That's what Aljamain the Funk Master wants.
Yes. So who do you have winning again?
I don't know.
I'm confused.
I don't know. I'll say Corey Sandhagen just because I want him to win, but I don't know. Peter Yan could easily win that fight. I don't know. This is weird.
I'm going Corey Sandhagen too.
I don't think Corey Sandhagen, but
I don't think Peter Yan deserved to be the champion.
Yeah, you got that Peter Yan hate. You hating on.
No. Listen, the buffoonery that he pulled off in that fight, he's not ready.
It was weird, but let's go back. His corner told him to do it.
Okay.
So when you're like in the heat of the moment and your corner's like knee him, like all you're thinking is, oh, that's what my corner's saying. Let me do it, and he kneed him, and like, so how much is that his corner's fault versus his fault? Obviously, it's his fault because he did it, but I mean, he was doing what he was told.
But listen, we have seen time after time after time again. How long have you been watching MMA?
Since 1947. So I don't know how long is that.
1947. I've been watching for a long time too. How many times have we seen fighters not listen to their coaches?
So many times.
like we see freaking we see fucking DC, which is one of the best grapplers ever.
Yeah.
Slam a guy in the first round and don't even attempt to wrestle ever.
Correct. Yeah.
And stand up and strike. We see that a lot.
Yeah.
You know, Peter Yan is a buffoon.
Yeah. I mean, obviously there's no question that was illegal and he shouldn't have done it. There's no question. Mm-hmm. Like, he obviously was on the ground. Like, it was like,
yes.
And he didn't need him. Like,
he's a great fighter. He's a phenomenal fighter. But I can't take buffoonery like that in the octagon. You can't be a champion. That's a
question. What if Peter Yan comes and just knocks him out first round, just clean? Just bam.
Oh, he's going to be the interim champion. He's going to be the interim champion. Hey, he will, and he's going to fight Aljo.
Now, who wins in the rematch, Aljo or Peter Yan?
Now, I can't wait for the sell of this fight.
I know, man. This is what I'm talking about. This is what I'm talking about. There's a story now. There's a story behind the Peter Yan Aljamain rematch. Like, it's a great story too. Like,
and the best thing about it, the sale will be real.
Yeah. They don't.
The sale will be really real.
Aljamain is a really cool guy, but he does not like Peter Yan because Peter Yan is his kryptonite. So.
Okay. Who I think will win? Yep. To me, Aljo only had one problem to fix was his cardio. Aljamain was freaking exhausted. Listen, Aljamain was exhausted and still staying in there. He was so exhausted, he was looping around doing all that. Peter Yan was connecting, but he didn't finish him. Exhausted Aljo. If Aljo could correct his cardio, Aljo will beat Peter Yan.
I agree.